Welcome to Screen Blast Repeat. We're continuing our series with the best of 2025, and in this video we're going to be looking at the best prog metal albums. So progressive metal is in a period of flux once more now that Meshuggah inspired boom has ended. When did it end? 10 years ago? I'm going to say 5. But you had a queue of artists from Haken to Periphery and Tesseract in 2020 waiting to dazzle you with their music. All three are still around and going strong, but the prog metal scene is now more reliant than ever on the big names. Dream Theater and Between the Buried and Me produced new albums for the faithful in 2025, but we heard nothing from Tool, inevitably, Devin Townsend or Gojira. No doubt the latter's record, slated for 2026, will be the biggest event next year, and eyes will be on Sweden also, where we might receive a new LP from Pain of Salvation, or perhaps even Meshuggah. For this year's list, we included progressive death metal and black metal in recognition of the importance of prog in the more extreme forms of heavy music. So these are the top 7 prog metal albums of 2025. So we're going to start at number 7 with one of the big name releases. We're talking about Between the Buried and Me with their album The Blue Nowhere, released on the 12th of September 2025 via Inside Out Music. One moment they want to annihilate you in the grip of tech death, the next can see them embracing the shiny off me to prog of yes. If an analogy is best to explain things, how about this one? Imagine a hungry scavenger raiding the cupboard for food. He eats everything edible and then moves on to stripping out the wood from the doors and the steel nails from the supports and shoves them down his throat in a ravenous frenzy. Verdict? 7 out of 10. We're staying in the United States for number 6, progressive groove metalers Byzantine with their comeback album Harbingers, released on the 13th of June via Metal Blade Records. There's a reason why Byzantine took 8 years to produce a new album. These riffs don't come into existence overnight. You'll need a cap and a beard to play the type of dirty mid-90s Metallica hooks in The Unobtainable Sleep. The singing style will remind you of that feeling when you finish a plate of barbecue meat and rub your stomach in satisfaction. You can harness the savage delight into other creative pursuits with the protein inside you. That's the hidden secret of this album. It can appeal to the guitar nerd, the alpha male, and the stoner. Verdict? 8 out of 10. At number 5, we're going to Norway for Green Carnation with their album A Dark Poem Part 1, The Shores of Melancholia, released on the 5th of September via Season of Mist. Who remembers when Queensryche used to write songs with this level of perspicacity? The instruments are but props to bring a story to life, which is one of the hardest things to do in heavy metal when the guitars demand centre stage and the drums can introduce an element of excess force. If you can't sing along to this album after one listen, you're not paying attention. Throughout it all, the focus remains on raising the anthems to levels of empowerment that seldom define heavy metal these days. Verdict? 8 out of 10. Coming in at number 4 is blackened progressive metal band Dawn of Ouroboros with their album Bioluminescence, released on the 7th of March via Prosthetic Records. The real contrast in this music is the way Dawn of Ouroboros use luscious melodies and drown them in distortion, while the rhythm section and vocals work through a black metal rampage. One cannot underestimate the ethereal beauty of the guitar work, but one must not overlook the severity of the extreme metal parts either. Dawn of Ouroboros are a bright light in contemporary metal. Album number 3 should propel them to greater things. Verdict? 8 out of 10. Yet again, we're staying in the United States for number 3. It's the self-titled album by progressive death metal group Rivers of Nile, released on the 30th of May via Metal Blade Records. We might call this progressive death metal because nothing else comes close to describing it, but this is quite unique. Does any other band in this genre approach their vocal harmonies like Queen? Better still, imagine cattle decapitation fed through a prog landscape. 50 minutes is just right for this collection of stories. That's what these songs are. Memoirs, letters from prison, diary entries, musings from the dock. Verdict? 8 out of 10. At number 2, we have the European group Inner Kabbalah with their album We Are Solitude. This is a self-release and it came out on the 4th of April 2025. Of Time Rejoice is the first long-form composition of the album, and it starts in a slow waltz of 3/4 timing with mid-range intervals. Pim Limburg is just as confident as Einar Zolberg of Leprous in his vocal phrasing. One assumes their country's famous Roadburn Festival would welcome them with open arms the way they love Oathbreaker. Ironically, it probably has more in common with underrated English veterans Threshold. Observe the deliberate off-meter staccato riffing at the finale. This is a group that choose their moments to show off. Verdict? You've guessed it! 8 out of 10. Which brings us to the number 1 spot for the best prog metal album of 2025. Drum roll please. At number 1, we have progressive death metal titans Fallujah with their album Zenithaf, released on the 13th of June via Nuclear Blast. With Kyle Schaefer serving as vocalist and lyricist for his second outing with the band, it promises a new era of stability that can stretch for another 5 years. The outcome is a coquettish form of prog metal that touches the erogenous zones of your body. At times, you're in danger of overlooking the complexity and brutality of the music. That's because soothing voices mixed with vengeful screams. The familiarity that produces a wandering mind will not plague your listening experience here. This is a mesmerizing piece of progressive death metal. Verdict? 8 out of 10. Congratulations to Fallujah for landing the number 1 spot for the best prog metal album of 2025. Let's also look at the honourable mentions. These are the records that nearly made the list. And we've got Asymmetric Universe with A Memory and What Came After, Forlorn with their album Ether, Fractal Universe with their record The Great Filters, ILO with their album Legacy, and Tomorum with their album Beyond Obsidian Euphoria. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow Screen Blast Repeat on Facebook, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.